Hi, I'm here to kick off our Wonderthon vlog. We are in the depths of planning. We have 2 weeks to go as of tomorrow. I'm so excited. I'm nervous. I am the captain of Team Bellamy, and I have to say I'm loving being on a team with people who I have seen in like general chat on Wonderthon, but I haven't gotten to like play the game with before. I do have a couple people I've played with before, which is very fun, who decided to join my team. I have some people like Marcella from Marcella in the Margins, who I've been doing sort of successfully a Don Quixote buddy read with, and we get to be in the same team, which will be really fun because we've been sort of connecting in other various places and through each other's videos and stuff. So now we get to be in a Wonderthon chat together, which is great. We have a plan. I'm going to tell you what the plan is now. I'm sure it will change, but I'm just going to tell you what we've been thinking about and kind of what our idea is for tackling Wonderthon this year. So we're a small team, but we have the power in the looting board, which is like the Scrabble board. Once we gain our first wonder, we will be able to get triple points for words that cover the four corner squares. So our idea is our ability, our wonder ability, is going to take more time for it to be like useful, because we have to actually read things that go to the corners before we can actually get the corner squares. So we have to like start from the middle and work out like you do a Scrabble. So we have some time. So we're thinking, let's feast right away and let's try to feast the whole time. So we're not going to worry too much about like slamming short books to get our wonders early. We're going to focus on 300 pages and above. Some of us are working on way longer books. And we're focusing on feasting and getting like maximum points in our categories that we are reading in. We haven't decided yet what categories we're going to start in. I know there are some people that are leaning more towards looting. A couple people are super into the gambling. A couple people are into the navigation. And then sailing is going to be tricky because we know that that's going to change. And so we can't plan too much because most likely the books that we plan will not be useful after it. So we're trying to plan like a few books at a time. But I did mention that like now is the only time that we get to plan. So trying to make sure that we read some high point books for the sailing category. So there is at least 2 of us, but I think there's more people that are going to try to get a 700-page nonfiction and either listen to it or eyeball read it to get like 72 points in sailing like right off the bat within the first couple days. So that will be wild. I don't know if anyone else on any other team is going to do that. I think there might be someone out there who does it. But if they're wanting to get their wonders faster so that they can get like information, maybe they won't. And so we might get like a leg up in sailing right away. That will also help. Those like big chunky books are going to just give us such a big buffer for our feasting number, which we want to be above 300 the whole time, but maybe above 350 before we get our first battle so that we can see what the second point scores are for the different teams. We won't know what category that's in, but their second highest score will be able to see the numbers. So hopefully that'll help us. So we just have like so much that's going on. We're making so many plans. I think we definitely want looting to be our powerhouse category. We can get crazy numbers with those triples. So we're just working on maximizing our other points as we work out to the triples. But feeling excited about that. I'm feeling really good about the gambling category because I've been working and making like a TBR for every single square so that when a square gets called for the day, you basically get double points if you read for it for the next 24 hours until she calls another one. So my idea is just find as many things as I can for a category, and then when it's called, I can like read as much of those graphic novels or manga as I can to like get double points for those categories. So for example, for a body of water in the title, if that gets called, there's a 5-volume manga series, and I could read all of those. They're called Children of the Sea. So every single one of those would count for 20 points. It would be 10 points for the square and then 10 points for the bonus. So that would be like 100 points I could get within a day, which would be really useful. And then just trying to fill out the board and get all the bingos that I possibly can when I'm not maybe having as much to read for that square. Because there are some squares where I have 1 or 2. And so I might not read like that many for them. So I'm very excited about all the categories. I don't know where the team members want to focus. I plan to fill in the gaps wherever I can. So whatever people aren't feeling as excited to read about, I have built a TBR for every single category that I'm excited about and should be high points. And so I will just fill in where they don't want to be. And I plan to do that the whole readathon. So I'm getting so excited. I can't believe we have 2 weeks. I'm nervous. I'm new being captain, but Ruby's great. She's my first mate, and she's been captain for 3 years. And I think we're a really solid team. And I'm loving the vibe of like the Bellamy chat. Everyone's so encouraging and kind. And we're so like excited and pumped and ready to do like crazy things. And we kind of like, Ruby and I were just talking about battles, and that got me all excited. Like, what if we get to be this like really small, mighty team that's like crushing in battles? Oh, I would love that. But we're also terrified of some of the readers on other teams because there are some people that can read a lot and they're scary as well. So it's all the anticipation is building. I'm going to get my t-shirt hopefully in the next couple weeks before this starts so I can be repping my Bellamy colors. I'm getting stacks of books set up over here of like books that I'm not using but have green covers, and stacks for my TBR for each of the categories. It's all going over there. I'll show you later when they're all there because a bunch of them are on the table there. And we're just having the best time planning, and we're going to be kicking off sooner than I'd like. I can't believe we're only like 2 weeks away. I'll come back to you probably once the readathon has started, or if I have anything more pertinent in the planning phase. I just kind of wanted to like get the strategy out there while I have time to like sit down and articulate it, because even just filming reviews for the books I read kind of goes out the window once Wonderthon starts. So it'll be a crazy time. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to be reading first. I'm going to turn you around. I have my 2 sailing books that I'm going to be prioritizing. I'm starting with this one tomorrow during sprints. This is for looting. This is my base word, so I need to make sure I get this one done, and then I can build off from there. This is my first book for navigating. It's going to be 30 points, but maybe slightly less because it's only 399 pages. And then I just brought up 3 random graphic novels. There are more downstairs. These 2 have green covers. This one is The Girl Who Flew Away. And this is my chunky 1,300 page collection of saga that I will be reading. That's the plan for, at least for now. Things might change. I might not get to them, but I'm hoping for these 2 and an audiobook for sailing in like the first few days. So that's the plan. Sprints start for me at 2:45 tomorrow. I plan to be on sprints, and we're fired up. Lizzie just showed us what kinds of things we can buy with coins, different kinds of advantages, which we were having fun chatting about. We don't get to do any mercenary challenges until 48 hours after the readathon starts, though. So we're going to focus just on reading for a little bit before those start. I'm very excited, very nervous. We have our plan in place to focus on sailing and looting and hope that we can hit someone hard with our first battle, but we are leaving ourselves a little more open in the other two areas. So I'm hoping this is a good strategy. We'll even out after a little bit, but we are planning to be feasting. Seems like the whole team is on board, so we are reading longer books, 300 pages or more. I'm aiming for that 400 to 600 page range as much as possible, but obviously I can't read as many 600 page books. So it kind of takes some finagling to figure out what exactly to focus on. But this is a stack, this is a plan for the first couple days, the first weekend. 2 hours left. I am so nervous. We have our strategy, and I'm trying not to second guess anything because I think it's a really good strategy to sort of focus on two areas. And you always win more when you win than if you lose to someone, unless another team is like crazy ahead of us in gambling or navigating and decides to hit us in that. But we are almost at 30 players. I forget our exact count right now. Last I checked, I think 27, but someone else might have joined after that. So we're very close to 30, which I think is a great team size. Lizzie's going to close off signups at the end of sprints, which are going to start very soon. I actually need to go edit and upload 2 videos. I need to shower, I need to eat lunch, and get ready to join sprints in a couple hours. I'm so excited. It's going to be so much fun. I am going to be working, but only a little bit, I think. So we'll see how that goes. But it's almost here. Go Bellamy. I think we're going to crush it. I really do like our strategy for being on the offensive right away. I'm excited. I'm going to start with Beartown by Frederick Bachman. I have it ready upstairs in my chair where I'm going to be doing sprints. I'm going to have a decaf coffee ready to go. It's hot outside, so I'm staying inside today. Let's get ready to do this. Okay, y'all, things just got crazy. We had our sailing board change like 16 hours after the kickoff. So I was in the middle of Beartown, and it's now worth 5 points instead of 30. So I'm going to stop reading that one. I might see if it works for looting. Otherwise, I'm sending it somewhere else or just not getting back to it and hope the sailing board changes in my favor. Yikes. Everyone was panicking. A lot of our big books that we were hoping to get in for sailing, especially nonfiction, are now worth like 5 points or 10 points, which is just not quite enough to justify a 600-page nonfiction. So we're pivoting. I'm currently listening to Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman, which is poetry, on 3 times speed. I do not like it. He has the most repetitive poems I've ever heard, where it'll be like, with the trees, with the river, with the grass, with the sky, with the deer, with the pioneers, and I'm like, stop. Stop just listing things. And lots of like war stuff too, which is a little weird. I don't know. So not my favorite, but now I get to stop 124 pages early because I really want to DNF it, but I would have listened to the entire thing for the points. But it's now worth 25 points if I just read the 500 pages instead of the 600 pages. So that worked out in my favor. Beartown, we're just pausing for now. So, I think everyone's panicking, so I'm going to try to read another sailing so that we can keep boosting sailing because I want big points in that category because every other team is also panicking. I have a ton of books to choose from. I think I'm going to grab like a 300-page. Should be able to fly through that quickly. And hopefully the board won't change so quickly, but I have like all day to read today. So I have like maybe an hour left of Leaves of Grass, and then I'll be physically reading a romance. Yeah, too early to be pivoting, but you know, we do what we gotta do. Our points are not looking great compared to the other teams. We are currently feasting at 350 pages, so we can peak other teams' second best score, and because we're focusing on long books, our scores are low because our big books haven't gone in, and now a lot of our big books are not worth as many points. So I don't know how it's looking. I think we're going to be battling tomorrow morning, which will be Sunday morning. And I don't know how it's going to go. I'm hoping we get a lot of points in today, get some big books, big points, so that we stand a chance at winning our first battle, because that's what we want to do. We want to be on the offensive, so I hope it happens. Okay, hi. It's Sunday. I'm sure this is probably terrible lighting, but you know, I couldn't be bothered to get up because I'm in the middle of a reading sprint. We had another sailing board change happen not that long ago, and Beartown's back on the board for 30 points. So I will be reading and hopefully finishing this before it changes again. I have less than 200 pages to go, so we should be good there. In unfortunate news, we had 4 battles this morning, 3 involving us, and we lost all 3. So we are reading as hard as we can today. We're trying to read shorter books to just get more books on the board because our feast is like at 350 right now. So we definitely have a buffer between losing the 300 feast and where we're at. So we're reading some shorter books, but still also trying to get big points. And we might battle tomorrow, so we need to like figure out a plan for what we're going to use, because we battled, Kid was in first place at the update last night, and we battled them in looting and highest category, whereas Blackbeard and Roberts, their highest category was gambling. So I think if we go for Blackbeard and looting, we'll probably win, because it's still our highest by a bunch. I think the other teams have at least 2 categories that are more even than us. So I don't know. We didn't lose that much, but other teams gained quite a bit in their battles. We're the only ones who didn't gain anything, so obviously we've taken a net loss, even though it was just like 1 point. So we're just trying to figure out like where do we go from here to put ourselves on better footing. And so shorter books to get more books in is the plan for right now. Okay, so more updates. We got a new points update, and surprise, surprise, we're in last. That makes sense. The other teams have been reading a lot, and we were the only team that only lost points and didn't gain points, so it kind of makes sense. I think the teams are fairly even. Like, I'm assuming it's not that hard to go up and down in the rankings, but we were in 4th place. So we are trying to figure out how to change our strategy for the best. Sometimes teams just outread you and there's not much you can do, but we're trying to think of how we can be as strategic as possible. And we just had mercenary challenges come up. Mercenary challenges are like side quests or challenges that teams can partake in order to gain coins, and then you can use those coins to buy advantages for the game. So we have started our first one. We have a team. I'm not on it this time, but basically they were doing 2 truths and a lie, where they had to choose 3 books. One they want to read, one they don't want to read, and one they have already read. They post those in the general chat, and whatever book wins, they have to read, except if the book that you've already read wins the poll, then you don't have to read anything. And so what we did is we were like, okay, put really long books as the option for one that you've read, or a really long or very popular book as the one that you haven't read. So I think someone put a new book, which is Yesteryear. That one won the poll, but the person had already read it, so now they don't have to read. And I think we got all of them except for 2 to vote that way. So 5 people didn't even have to read for the challenge. And so we only have 2 people that need to read for it, and they're excited about the books that they're reading. So if you saw those polls in general chat, that's what happened. That's what they were for. And then once they complete this mercenary challenge, Lizzie will tell us when we have another slot open, and we have the next mercenary challenge already planned out. We have to do a word chain, so we have to connect 8 books with a common word in the title. So like The Girl Who Flew Away could connect to Run Away With Me, which could connect to Follow Me Into the Dark, as long as it has one word in common and you're making a chain. So we have 8 people, 8 books in a chain ready to go. As soon as Lizzie tells us that we have an open slot, we can choose when to start, and we have to complete those books within 48 hours. We can start them ahead of time though if we want to, but we can't submit them. So I kind of told the team, like, focus on submitting books because we're going to battle again in the morning. So we'll see how that goes, because we can still see, our feast is big enough, we can see the second place points for other teams. And unfortunately, everyone's at like 20, and our second highest spot is only at 12. So I don't know, it's not looking too good there. My only hope is that they're going to fight each other. Hi, we're back in the same spot, but on a different day. We are still in last place as of last night, but things are looking up for us. We have been working really hard, and we just got our Wonder today, which means that now our 4 corners on the looting board are worth triple points instead of double. So our looting score is going to be able to go up faster than the other teams unless they're able to buy enough coins to also buy that reward. The other teams earn their Wonder slightly before us, either overnight last night or just early this morning. It's 1 p.m. on Wednesday, so it's been a few days since I updated you. What has happened? I have finished Beartown. That was great and sad, and I'm done with it. I gave it 5 stars. It was a very hard read, but so perfectly captured small town sports and the pressures that are on children basically to perform well in sports at such an early age, and how economy can be so tied up in sports to where the town is putting pressure on children to do well so that economy can come to the town so that people can not be so poor, which is really hard. And then all of the toxic masculinity that happens within locker rooms and outside of locker rooms, and all the politics of essay accusations that go into he said, she said court dramas. There's so much in that book, and it's written so well where you understand where every single person is coming from, and yet we all read it and we know what should happen, how you wish it would go, how if there was justice in the world, things would happen a certain way, things wouldn't happen at all. It was so good, and I wanted to pick up the next book right away, but I think it reads a little too slow for me to read during Wonderthon. I need to be reading fast books. Then I listened to the audiobook of The Undertaking of Heart and Mercy. This is like a fantasy romance. It was shelved under fantasy. I actually ended up listening to it for navigating because it ended in a 9. So that earned me like 40 points in navigating, which was great. And I actually really enjoyed that. The basic premise of that story is you've got mail with magic. The story does not fall too far from the plot of You've Got Mail. So if you've seen that, you kind of know a bit about what the story is going to be. But it's a classic story. I mean, that is, You've Got Mail is also a retelling of an older story as well, The Shop Around the Corner. So it's a classic premise for a reason because it works, it's entertaining. I don't love the secret keeping in it, but I think it was still overall a very fun romance, and I loved the fantasy elements of it, which I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to expect because sometimes the fantasy is like second class, and this one had like a perfect mixture of great fantasy world and great romance. It was really fun. So I love that, and I'm going to see if I can squeeze in the second book in the series, The Undermining of Twyla and Frank, somewhere in there. I don't know if that'll happen, but maybe. I am going to be listening to Candelaria, which I was not expecting to listen to at all. But the sailing board has changed, and I needed a quick audiobook that was a horror. And so I'm going to be listening to that one. I cannot remember the author's name right off the top of my head. I'm going to start that while I have some lunch. I've been reading quite a few graphic novels here and there. We have completed 2 mercenary challenges. We're waiting for our 3rd slot. And we're still in last place, but we're feeling good. We're gaining on teams in Wonder Points now that we've switched to shorter books, but we're going to have to go back up to longer books at some point. We're going to have to switch back to longer books at some point to kind of keep our numbers above that 300-page average mark. So I've been trying to sprinkle in some longer ones. So currently I'm working on, and this is going to be backwards, I'll Make a Spectacle of You by Beatrice Winifred Eicher. I am about a third of the way through. I did sprints with Bailey this morning and got quite far in. It's a pretty quick read. It's a folk horror, specifically focusing on like Black Appalachian folklore. So it's really interesting. There's like this dark academia feel to it as well, and I'm really enjoying it, and it's reading very quickly, which is good. I'm going to work on trying to get some bingos and gambling. I've been like scattering them around, trying to hit some of the harder things, but I'm going to start getting some bingos soon. And I'm going to try to get bingos with large books, since you're getting basically 30 points if it's a bingo and a prompt of the day, and then just for hitting that prompt you get 10 points. And I want to hit those with like the 600-page books, because then you're multiplying 30 by a big multiplier. Hi, Blue. He wants love. Hi. Just to maximize points, I want to hit those with big books. So I'm trying to in case I can get some big ones done. So I'm going to read some of Saga. I have a big compendium that's 1,300 pages. Quite a bit, our feast number, but then also it'll just be worth a lot of points if I can daily square, that's called. Unfortunate thing is that Kid also now know the schedule for the daily squares, and Blackbeard is going to know when the sailing board changes and what it's going to change to. So they're going to be able, having that information, to just switch up more easily because they just know when changes are coming. We're in the dark with the changes, but we have the big looting points. So we're hoping that we can just roll with the punches when it comes to those random changes and just keep looting high, but we're trying to bring our other categories up as well and just really upping the reading. We are hoping to do like a little secret 24, 48 hour readathon within our group over the weekend. So we're just focusing on like reading really hard. I mean, we're obviously reading really hard all the time, but just doing some like secret little fun readathon just within our team. And so that should be a lot of fun. I'm going to go read now. I have so much to read. I'll check back in with an update. Okay, you're very precariously perched, but I'm going to try to give you this update while I get ready to go to work. I just showered, but we've been crushing the mercenary challenges. We've done 3. Lizzie just gave us an option to do another one today. So we were going to do the anti-recommendations, which is where you have to go into general chat, ask them for an anti-rec, and whatever book you get, if you can get access to it, you have to read it. And like absolute crickets in the chat. I think everyone knew we were doing something for a mercenary challenge. So Marcella got 1 rec from someone. Maybe we have some other people giving recs, but they're taking their sweet time about it. And so unfortunately, we're stuck for a little bit. Lizzie did say she's not going to make us stay stuck forever. But I'm sure the other teams, if they know what the challenge is, which I kind of think Blackbeard does, they know exactly what we're asking for and are just not going to give it to us. So I don't know what Lizzie will do in that case, but that was unfortunate. I think people were going to try to bring it up subtly and then got excited and it was not subtle. And so now we're stuck. But we know what we want to do when we get the next challenge completed, which is to steal a player from another team. And we're looking at people from Blackbeard. So people on Blackbeard who your days are numbered because we're going to steal maybe one of your best players. And they're going to work for us for 10 days. So karma, I guess. Anyways, I've been doing great. I finished I'll Make a Spectacle of You. It was fine. The ending I did not like. I got really bored. It showed its cards way too early, and then there was no mystery, and I was just waiting for it to be done, and I didn't care about anything. So I gave it like a 3 stars because I liked the beginning, but the ending was just boring, if I'm being honest. I'm listening to 20s Girl by Sophie Kinsella, which will be for looting as well, because we're boosting our looting points, because we're going to hit Blackbeard for not helping us. And I DNF'd Candelaria. That was for navigating, so I'm going to be starting The House of Roots and Ruin by Aaron Craig for navigating, which will be a fast read, and it will be progress in a series, which I'm hoping to read for another video. So that'll all work out well. I'm going to go to work now. I'm also working on Saga. I'm a quarter of the way through the big 1,300-page Saga compendium, and it's flying by. So that's really good. And I plan to use that, try to hit a square of the day, and get a bingo, because that'll be 30 points multiplied by a bunch. So I think it'll be like 60 or 70 points in gambling, because I'm going to make sure that Saga can be used to complete a bingo if it can, and be on the square of the day. So that's the plan. Okay, so we got our 3 recs. We had to resort to trying to bribe people for recs, but we got 3. And our plan is to still keep bugging people in general chat, pretending like we still need more recs, even though we don't. And just annoy them and distract them and pretend like we're stuck, even though the people that got the Rex are going to be able to finish them hopefully pretty quickly. Hello. We are mid-secret readathon within a readathon for Bellamy, and we are crushing it. We just had a huge battle win today. We beat not only Blackbeard in looting, but we beat Roberts, who's been going absolutely crazy. They've been in first place for a long time, and we beat them by a lot. Like 30 to 40 points, I think. It's a lot. And we've been slamming looting. So they can't, I don't think they're going to be able to catch up with us because we have the triples. So we are doing our best to build up our other categories, because as soon as we're in first place, everyone's going to be hitting us in the areas that we're weak in. So we need to build those up a little bit. But we're trying to keep looting big, which it is. We're growing by so many points per day. And some of us, like me, haven't even hit the triples yet. So that's good. And Blackbeard just approached us because they've been in second. And they're chasing after Roberts hard, but haven't been able to catch them. And they approached us because we've been faking that we need anti-Rex for like 3 days now. We still haven't finished the challenge, but we have had our anti-Rex for like 24 hours now. So one of our teammates is going to finish the last book and we'll submit and move on. But we're keeping up this ruse that we can like annoy general chat into getting them to us and that we still need them. But we're going to try to get sailing info in exchange for not attacking Blackbeard and attacking Roberts, which we were going to attack Roberts anyways, so it kind of works out for us because we get more points. We get like a half more point for attacking Roberts than we do for attacking Blackbeard, but they're actually really close in points. So I was like, if you can give us the next 2 sailing changes and the boards, we won't attack you, and we promise to attack Roberts, because Roberts is losing big points when they lose to us. I think, wait, this is bad mental math, but like 2 or 3 points, which is like fairly substantial loss. Maybe a bit more than that, I'm not sure, but we were going to attack Roberts anyways, but if we could get some sailing info, that would be great, because we need to boost up sailing and gambling and navigating, because if we ever get out of last place, people will probably start attacking us, and we need to be able to not lose as many points as we are gaining. But Secret Readathon is going great. We are hyped. I'm reading House of Salt and Sorrow. I'm halfway through Saga. I'm a third of the way through another graphic novel, and I'm listening to, I can't remember the name of it. It's the sequel to The Undermining of Heart and Mercy, because I'm obsessed with listening to those audiobooks now, and I don't want to listen to anything else. I keep wanting to DNF everything else I listen to. So I'm listening to the second one in that series and hoping it works for sailing eventually. Hello. It's been about 24 hours, a little bit more than that, but things have been happening. So yesterday, Blackbeard approached us for a little bit of a truce. They offered to help us with our anti-wreck mercenary challenge, which we don't actually need help with. We're just pretending that we do need help with it. We've actually finished it and we're on our next one. So we stole Jen from Blackbeard, which was very fun. So now she's reading for us as well as for her team. But her books will always be more points on our team because we have a smaller team. So they might bump her points up by like 0.5, but ours up by like 1. So that's really great and fun. We are very close to getting our second wonder. So we're going to be then getting a little sneak peek to help with battles. We have decided that we're going to keep looting high as our battle category. So it's like triple what our others are right now. But we are kind of pausing on that one because we beat Roberts by a dishwasher, which is like 40 to 50 points, I think. So it's definitely like up there in points. But we need to bring the other categories up because if we do get into first place, everyone's going to be gunning for us. So we don't want to be losing more than we're gaining with our 1 or 2 battles that we're able to do. So we're kind of pausing on looting for like a day or 2, boosting up the other ones so we're losing by less. And then hopefully we'll be able to, I think we're going to get 2 battles in the morning, knock Roberts down to second place. Then they'll want to attack Blackbeard to get back up to second or first place. So then we can attack Blackbeard, bring Blackbeard down by a bit, and hopefully we'll just slowly inch our way up over time. The trouble is, if we get into second or first, that's when everyone starts battling you, and we want to avoid that because our other categories are weak. So we're playing this really crazy balancing act, but we're just trying to read a ton. And it's just been really fun. We've loved having our little weekend readathon. It's been so much fun. We've read like crazy this weekend. And we're having a great time with the mercenary challenges. I finished 4 books over the weekend. Today I finished A House of Salt and Sorrows, which was like a 3. I liked the beginning much more than I liked the end. And then I DNF'd The 2 Lives of Livia Bird, and I put those both towards navigating. I'm working on a green graphic novel for the new prompt. Going to get this in tonight to help get our second battle and also to help boost up gambling because Blackbeard is high in gambling. And then Roberts is high in nav, and I think Kid is high in sailing. So everyone's kind of hit their own thing that they're really good at, but we definitely have an advantage with looting, getting those 3 times points. That helps us a lot. So plan for tomorrow, I don't work, and then I work a little bit Tuesday, all day Wednesday, a little bit Thursday, and then I'm off for the rest of the readathon. So the thought is get a lot of reading done tomorrow, get our wonder, really keep pushing looting while also catching up our other categories. So I'm trying to catch up other categories as much as I can and just see if we can pull it out. If we can get a win for Ruby, my bestie on the green team. If we can get a win for Ruby, that will be worth it. That's what I want. Okay, guys, so much has happened. So we stole Jen. Then the next day, Jen started binging, I'm assuming single issue comics or The Very Hungry Caterpillar over and over and over again, and like absolutely tanked our feast score. So we had to like scramble and read long books to get our feast score back up, which overall isn't too bad because we also need to be reading lots of books. So letting Jen read tiny books that don't count for a lot of points but help us get to our next wonder faster is kind of nice. We had a little panic, but then we felt fine about it. I am so close to finishing The City of Saints and Madmen by Jeff Vandermeer for like 96 sailing points. I was 10 minutes away and the sailing board changed. And now it's only worth half points. It's still a good amount of pages, but it was only half points. So I read and finished Has Anyone Seen Charlotte Salter by Nikki French. I read that yesterday and I loved it. I give it a 4-star. Very great start to a new series by them. I'm very excited to continue it. It was a really just gripping thriller. I love the way they write thrillers, and I like the main detective that we're going to follow, and I think it'll be interesting to follow her. So I read that all yesterday. Our plan is to boost looting because Roberts is boosting looting, and we want to be knocking them down as much as possible. So I brought Catabasis today. It's like 170 something looting points. So I'm going to be reading that as much as I can today after I submit for sailing. And then we're trying to get as many battles as possible because we need to be bringing Roberts down. Because they keep gaining a little bit more than they're losing. And we need to gain like 20 or so points, I'm assuming. 30 points, I think, to get above them. So we just need like big points constantly. And we need to be getting as many battles as we can. We're currently looking at options to spend our coins on. We're getting ready to start a mercenary challenge very soon, like in like 5-10 minutes. And that should be done fairly quickly to get us up to 20 coins. And then if we get the treasure, that will give us 70 coins. We're considering buying the advantage to double your highest category. We're considering buying that twice to then boost up looting a ton with our triple points so that we're gaining then like 30 or more points at the very end. And then we'll get the ghost boost and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. We think we have a good strategy. We just don't want to get up to first or second too early because then we start hitting with battles and we have so many weak categories. We're hoping to like sneak our way in there right at the end, but we'll see what happens. But we're feeling good. Spirits are high. I have a feeling our looting points are going to go up a ton today because we had to kind of pivot yesterday and abandon some other things or finish up other things and then go to looting. So we're doing big books today. And hopefully a lot of them will get finished. We're trying to read like 10,000 pages to try to get 2 battles, but I don't know if that'll happen. So at the last points update, we were back in 4th place. That was 2 days ago. There's another points update happening tonight. Based on us not getting a mercenary challenge in a while, we kind of think we're in 3rd place and we want to drop back down to 4th. The reason we want that is because Roberts keeps attacking the 2nd place team and the 3rd place team with a battle every day. And so we want to avoid battles. We've been avoiding battles for days now because we've been in last place. So what we're doing is we are reading, but we are not submitting books really until after the points update because we want to let Blackbeard get ahead of us and then we can start to submit, which is fine because we tend to have some slow days. And so I don't think it's like too suspicious. We've had Jen submitting, I think, from Blackbeard because they are pushing to get their Wonder. We should be fine to get our Wonder. We don't necessarily need it maybe until tomorrow or mid-Sunday. As long as we get it before like the very end, we're good. So we're just trying to read as much as we can. We're also trying to basically abandon all the other categories and get looting as high as we possibly can because we are going to spend our coins on doubling our highest category, which is looting, in the averaging and doing that twice. So what that means is our scores are averaged between all the 4 categories, and we would basically just be duplicating looting twice and then dividing all of that by 6. And because we have such a high span between looting and our 2nd highest score, we're hoping that should bump us up enough to be able to beat everyone and go from 4th place to 1st place. We are not sure if that will work, but it's the way we can get the most points. And so we want to avoid battles so we're not losing points. We don't want to be hit by people. So we want to be in 4th place and try to sneak our way over the finish line. It's going to be really dicey. It feels very scrappy this year. It feels like anyone can win. I am working on 2 giant looting books. These are my triple pointers. So Catabasis, I'm 2/3 of the way through. I'm not loving it. It meanders a lot, in my opinion, and I'm a little bored by the whole travel in hell. I don't know. It's just not that interesting to me, and the tangents are happening all the time, and they last for like 30, 40 pages sometimes. And I'm kind of over it, but I'm pushing through because this is worth 174 points. This is also worth 174 points. I have not started this yet, but I am planning to start this today and alternate like a sprint of this, a sprint of this, or 50 pages of this, and then one sprint of this, and get them both done. And then I have some things on audio. So I have The Undermining of Twilight and Frank. I can fit on my looting board for like 70 points or something. And then I have, if we get one more mercenary challenge, I'm going to read Loveless by Alice Oseman for that one, which will also go on the looting board for like 70 points. I have Leech by Hiron Ennis that I did not like, and I'm going to DNF at some point. And then I'm going to read long graphic novels until we get our Wonder to make sure that happens. Now, the tricky thing is Jen is reading short things on her team, and so our feast is dropping, so we might have to submit like a thing or two just to help keep our feast up, because we lose like 20 points on these big books if we don't have the feast up, and so we definitely want the feast to be up. That's the plan. I don't know how much I'll update you because I really need to be reading, so I might not update you until the very end. I'll try to give you a quick update at the points tonight just to see if we're in third or fourth. That might make a big difference for us. We'll see. Wish us luck. So much has happened. I will update you afterwards. We're in final sprints with my friends wearing green. I think we stand a chance of winning this, and we're just so excited. I'm reading like crazy. That's my stack. I'm trying to see how far I can get through it. Hi, friends. Let's finish strong. Hello. Okay, the readathon is officially over, the reading part. Let me rewind, and I will tell you what happened. Friday, I was telling you that we were trying to drop down to fourth place. We did not. We were in third, so we took hits on Saturday and Sunday morning from Roberts like we expected, one each for Kid and us. Kid has been directing mostly at Roberts, except for today they went for Blackbeard. But we're doing good in points. So last night was Saturday, and we had been reading books like crazy on Bellamy. Like crazy. And when we went to bed, I was like, okay, let's try to get 2 battles for the morning if we can, because most teams had done like 2 battles, and we were kind of behind on the amount of battles that we had declared over the span of the readathon compared to other teams. Roberts had done the most, and then Blackbeard and Kid were tied, and we were behind by like 3 battles. And the team overnight earned us the 3rd battle. We got 3 battles yesterday. We sent all 3 battles in looting at Roberts this morning. We won by 2 fridges on each one, so 6 fridges total, because we've been attacking and looting like we have for a long time, and mainly aiming at Roberts since we found out we could beat them. And Roberts hasn't been catching up on us, probably because we are literally abandoning basically every other category. We're putting a little bit into things, but we're on looting like 90%, I feel like, on looting. And a few here and there in gambling just for like the page counts. A couple other members are focusing on like navigating and sailing too as well. But for the most part, we were focused on getting our triples for looting. So Roberts used a shield, which means they take half damage. So they lost like 8 points where they would have lost 16 had they not used that. Which was fine because we don't care as much about the damage because the damage is so much lower. We care more about what we get from them. So we gained like 35 points this morning. Even with the damage that we took, we got 35 points. So that was great. So I was doing the math and I was like, I'm pretty sure Roberts is like 4 points ahead of us as of this morning. So we read like crazy. I had just thrown it out there. I was like, hey guys, I'm going to put a little tracker on our board to see if we could try to get 2 battles. And we had to read like 14,000 pages. I was like, there's no way we're going to do this. I read like 1,600 pages between the audiobook that I was working on, a manga I was halfway through, like a big manga, and then a bunch of other graphic novels. And so I put in like 1,600. Someone read Words of Radiance over the past 2 days and submitted it for like 1,000 points. And we were like watching and we were waiting as people on our team woke up to submit books that they had gotten to 50% in, just to see like, can we get this second battle? And we did. And we overshot it by almost 900 pages. So that was like incredible. But here's the thing. This is where the strategy gets crazy, because I was talking with my team last night and I was like, actually, you get diminishing returns the more times you buy, doubling your highest category. So maybe it would be better to buy it one time, get the most points you can, and then buy 4 battles. But Roberts using the shield today reminded me that there's an immunity idol. And if you buy an immunity idol, it protects that category from any attacks. So I was like, guys, if there's an immunity idol, we cannot like abandon those points and risk Roberts using an immunity idol on looting, or someone else using an immunity idol and we attack them. So I was like, I think we just need to play it safe and just use our 90 coins. Oh, by the way, Lizzie gave us a mercenary challenge it was 3 p.m. my time last night, 6 p.m. for East Coast. She gave every team one more mercenary challenge and we absolutely crushed it. We did that and we got our 90 coins because we got our treasure, and then we've been saving up our coins for these doubling prizes. So we had 90. So we were like, we can buy it 3 times. That's going to give us a jump of 89 points right now. There might be a few more books that trickle in as people who had to go to bed way early submit books that they didn't get a chance to finish. So we may have a few come in, or people who go kind of AWOL on the chat and then kind of come in at the last second and submit things they were working on. That happens sometimes. So there might be some more trickling in, but a jump of 88 points is crazy. We don't think we have very many ghosts, which are people who haven't submitted at all, who will be removed from the team at the end of the readathon. And so we were like, let's not risk the battles. Let's put everything towards the for sure points, because we don't think, at least we don't think anyone else has the ability to do that. And we don't think anyone else has put so much into one category that it would be that high of a jump, because our looting category is insane. It's like 370 points or something like that. It's massive. I think our next closest one is 130. So we've just been putting all our eggs into one basket. We've been risking taking bigger hits in battles, but luckily we haven't been in first place. And so our whole strategy has been lie low, hopefully not get too many hits, and we're just gonna build up looting, get those mercenary challenges done, get the coins, get the treasure. And we did all that, and In the morning, we're going to have 2 battles. We're going to throw one at Roberts because it's a classic at this point. They're probably going to miss it if we don't attack them in looting. They're going to be like, what? You don't love us anymore? You don't want to throw your loot at us anymore? And then we're going to throw one at Kid just on the off chance that Roberts uses an immunity idol to try to protect themselves from us attacking and looting because we've been doing it for days. They know we're probably going to do it. And if we were going to buy battles, they would probably think, let's get the immunity idol to protect ourselves from battles. So that's the plan. So one more day of 5:45 a.m. wake up, do battles. After the battles, we're going to spend all our coins. We're going to jump up those points by like 88.6 points. And then we have to wait all day to find out if we win. Lizzie will remove the ghosts at some point. I forget if she does that during the readathon, like before the live show or at the live show. I'm not sure. I'm so nervous. But honestly, this has been such a fun readathon. It has felt like anyone could win at any point. It just takes the right moves, the right strategy, the right doing something unexpected. And we're just hoping that like we don't get piled on with like 20 attacks. That would be probably worst case scenario. But even then, like big attacks are only doing like a few points. So it might not be enough to like drag us down too far. And I think Roberts has been in first place for so long. And I know we hit them hard today, but like they've been in first for so long that I'm hoping people still have eyes on them, not on us, because we were in third at the last update. And we've been doing well, but no one knows if we're even in second place, let alone first. We don't even know where we're at. We're still below Roberts, I think, but we don't know where we're at as far as like, are we still in third? Are we in second? Is Kid in first? We don't really know. Blackbeard could be in first for all we know. Like, it was really anyone's game this round, and I just want to see that green line go to the top of the Wonderthon graph right at the end. That's what we're hoping for. We've been working so hard. We've been like, because Roberts loves a little trash talk because they've been getting the brunt of the battles because they've been in first. And every time they throw a little bit of trash talk in there, I'm always like, you just wait and see. You just wait and see. We have a plan. And so I hope that it works out in the end. So see you tomorrow for the results show. Let's see if Ruby and I end up crying because we win. It's felt like we worked so hard for this, and we've done so much better than we thought we could. We have smashed it. I hope we win. I know all the other teams work so hard too, so there's part of you that's like, it feels bad to win because you're like, everyone else worked so hard for it. But we worked so hard for it, and I feel like we made some really risky moves, and we hope it's gonna pay off. Okay, readathon's over. Let me recap what happened and tell you who won. So, Monday morning, there were 18 battles, which was an insane amount. Roberts thought we had bought a bunch with our coins, but we had not. And so Roberts aimed all of their battles, 4 of them, at us. Dropped us quite far down. We split our 2 battles that we got between Roberts and Kid just in case someone used an immunity idol. And then Blackbeard bought 9 battles, or had 9 battles, bought some, earned some, and they sent 1 at us, 2 at Kid, and then 6 at Robert, split between 2 different categories. So I was like doing the math like crazy, and I was like, you guys, I don't know, that was a big hit. So at that point, the readathon's done. We get our tripling. I'm doing the math. I'm like, I'm really not sure where we're going to be at. But I had a feeling we were going to be first or second based on the math. We just had no info on where Blackbeard was. So we get to the live show, and Blackbeard won. We lost by only 10 points. We had 422 points. Blackbeard had 433 points. It was so close. And it's always hard not to think, what if we would have done this differently? What if this would have happened? You know, you just never know in Wonderthon. So we tried our best. We still felt really good because we had been behind for a lot of the game. We were behind in battles quite a bit. I think by the end we still had declared way less battles than anyone else. So our battle points were always lagging behind. But our strategy worked. It didn't just work quite well enough. But we all felt good. Like we did what felt right in the moment. We didn't have any regrets. So that is Wonderthon 2026. Pirate Wonders. Can't wait for next year. I'm so excited to see what will happen next. Lizzie always does such an amazing job making it different and better every year. This year felt like the most competitive of all of the years. It felt like all 4 teams were in it the entire time, which I think is just the best feeling, because last year I was on the winning team. I was on Dover, but it did feel sometimes like we ran away with it, and we felt pretty comfortable in our first place spot the entire time. So this year, all the changes that Lizzie made to sort of even the playing field is the tricky thing about Wonderthon, is that depending on what kinds of readers you have on different teams, it can be very hard for some teams to catch up. So if you have some readers that are reading 150 books within the 2 weeks, which is not uncommon for Wonderthon, and then you have a team whose top reader is reading 70, that makes it hard for that team where they're reading as much as they can, they're just slower readers. It makes it hard for them to catch up. So Lizzie has done such an amazing job of trying to not give too much to the players who are less. You still have to read, you still have to be fully involved, you still have to have your team playing the strategy game. But instead of it just solely being whoever reads more is going to win, it's whoever is reading a lot and can make alliances, or can use their coins properly, or read for the right categories and things like that. And so it's just this really beautiful puzzle of the game that I think is just so much fun, and I love it more and more every year, and I love the changes that are made. And it felt so fun this year to feel like at the very end you don't know who's gonna win, which is just so much fun. It means everyone's in it 100% of the time to the very end. So if you have never joined Wonderthon, think about it for next year. It always happens sometime in June. Lizzie's a teacher, so it usually coincides with summer break, and you can always kind of mark off June as Wonderthon time. Lizzie's going to work so hard to take what we learned from this year and make it even better. And it's just such a fun readathon. The community is top notch. The excitement and chaos is top notch. It's just so much fun. So definitely go subscribe to Lizzie. Her channel is going to be down below. It's at Lizzie's Literary Life. Go subscribe to her channel. That way when Wonderthon comes back around, you will be notified. And I'll see you next year for more Wonderthon. And also next week for other kinds of videos. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.